Hello, welcome to this video for installing the Juniper QFX series of switches onto the EVE-NG. So we're going to finish off from where we left off on the last video. So I'm just going to start these particular nodes so they're ready for later. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to go back to our folder where we've saved our downloads from Juniper website, and you see we have these two images here. We have the QFX routing engine and the QFX packet forwarding engine. So this is the same as installing the at VMX, whereby it's a dual node system. So the first thing we need to do is to SSH into our EVE-NG and create our folders, and also we need to FTP onto our EVE-NG as well. So I've already got my FTP. We're going to the qemu. I've got a few more images that I've added, but we have no vSRX, no switch on there. So we're going to put the switch on there now. So let's SSH in. So SSH 172.16.236.128. Okay. Alright, so I've connected to my EVE-NG via SSH. So let's create both of our folders. So let's have a look. The QFX, so we're creating the packet forwarding engine first, only because it's the first one of the list of two, and we're going to create our routing engine. Fantastic. Alright, now let's refresh this list. Okay, we see that both the vQFX folders have now been created. Alright, so exactly the same as what we've done before, we need to rename these interfaces, these images, so they can be read correctly. So I'm going to do the routing engine one first. Alright, so let's have a look and let's copy that and paste it there. Brilliant. And let's rename. Fantastic. So now this is the routing engine, so I'm going to pull this over to the routing engine folder. So QFX RE for routing engine, and drag and drop, and that will upload the image. Won't take long. Fantastic. Alright, now let's do the packet forwarding engine now as well. I'm going to copy that name out just to make it easier for me, only because of the location of my mic is kind of right over my keyboard at the moment. So let's have a look at the packet forwarding engine. I'm going to make a copy of that. And I do believe that now I've made a copy of that, I may have actually overwritten the copy of the name that I actually made. We'll have a look. So let's rename and see if it's, yeah, it's done so. I'll have to type it in manually. So rename. And now let's drag it into our folder. Okay, that's proceeding along quite nicely. Brilliant. Now let's fix the file permissions. And we should be good to go. Alright, let's have a look now. So if we go to add an object, we should find it might not be here at the moment. And it's not, so let's close the lab. And then reopen it again. And we'll see if it appears in the list. Okie dokie. Ah, there we go. We have the Juniper vQFX packet forwarding engine and the routing engine. So let's pull out the packet forwarding engine. Okay, so as we can see, the packet forwarding engine is automatically set to 2 CPUs and 4 gigs of memory. I mean, that's quite extensive, but it's all right. And now let's get the routing engine out. Now the routing engine is 2 CPUs and 2 gigs of RAM. So you're looking at a total of 6 gigs to run one Juniper switch. Now that is quite a lot, which is one of the reasons why I prefer to use the vSRX when I'm labbing, because even though it's currently set to 4 gigs for the vSRX, you can drop that down to 3 if you need to. It's not a problem, and you're only dealing with one image rather than having to have a dual node setup. But your mileage will vary, whichever you prefer to use. Oh, these need to go the other way around. Another weird thing about the switch image is that you may notice the routing engine has the 15 interfaces, whereas the packet forwarding engine only had the 2 interfaces. The roles are kind of reversed compared to the VMX, but it takes you a little while to get used to that, but you'll soon sort that out. That's not a problem. So let's connect the internal link between the two. So let's do the internal, save. This won't take too long, a couple of moments. And then let's start both these images up. Brilliant. Okay, let's have a little look at, while we're here, at how far ahead. Let's cancel that. I'm going to put that into HTML mode for my my console. And we'll see how far along these devices have come, if anywhere as of yet. Okay, so it looks like the vSRX is trying to mount. Okay, that one's going a little slower. Okay, I'm just going to pause the video then, and we'll come back to it shortly. Bit of a titanic mistake on the QFX, both the images. Unfortunately, they needed to be renamed as hda.qcal2, not virtua.qcal2. So that was my mistake. So all I did was I went back into my FileZilla and I just renamed the image to HDA, and HDA for the routing engine and packet forwarding engine, and as we can see, they're now both starting to boot absolutely fine. So it shouldn't be too long before these are ready to rock and roll. Currently at the moment we're ready to log into the vSRX and the VMX as well. So let's just wait for this to load up and then we'll carry on. Okay, so the image took approximately 3 to 4 minutes to boot up, which wasn't bad compared to the other two images. So we're going to log in now. Now you notice it doesn't have the amnesiac here when you become and boot into this device. Now when you get them from Juniper, they automatically have a username and password set. So the username should be root and the password I believe should be Juniper with a capital J. There we go, we're in, and we're in the root shell. So let's CLI it and let's do a show interface terse. Okay, so we're just waiting for the interfaces to come up now. Alright, so this again is exactly the same as the VMX, where it needs to negotiate with both the routing engine and the packet forwarding engine. So we can also do a show chassis FPC. So it's not come up yet, and let's do the pick status. And again, that's not come up just yet. So this, while the image is booted relatively quickly, it does take a while again for the routing engine and the packet forwarding engine to communicate with each other. We'll just wait for that to go through. Shouldn't take too long. So the image is fully booted now and the interfaces are online. As we can see through the show chassis FPC, we have the FPC is now online, and when we do the show chassis FPC pick status, we can see that we have our interfaces here. It says it has 48 interfaces, but of course it's not. I'm sure it was only automatically allocated 15 interfaces on the image. Now, one problem that we have with the vQFX images is the amount of interfaces and sub interfaces that are configured. So if I do a show configuration, let's do a show interface terse first. So show interface terse, we're seeing our XE interfaces, so these are our 10 gigabit interfaces. We can see we've got 0 to 11, so that's 12 usable interfaces. That's fantastic. However, if we go to show configuration, you'll see something different. As you'll see, I've gone through 2 pages now, we're still only at 0%. 1%. Now this is where we have a problem. We have our XE interfaces, I believe there's 71 of them configured on the configuration and 3 sub interfaces for each. So that is what, 740 220 ish interfaces, 220 odd, which is absolutely crazy. So we need to remove these interfaces. As you can see, the pages I'm going through, I'm only at 6% already. There's hundreds of interfaces here. So what we need to do, we need to use a wildcard delete statement, which I'll include on the attached to the video. So we're going to the wildcard range delete the interfaces, the ET 0 to 71, and we're going to do the XE 0 to 71 and the sub interfaces as well. Sometimes one of these fails, it's just one of those things, but we'll have a little look and see what we can do with this. So let's get into configuration mode and let's get the command up here. So we're going to put the wildcard delete and pop that in. Yeah, it won't copy over. Okay, we'll have to type it the old-fashioned way. So let's do wildcard range delete interfaces. And I believe it was ET000 ET0/0, and I believe it was slash, yeah, slash 0:71. I believe that was correct. Oh, right, it wasn't colon, it was a dash to 71. Oops, it's ET, not WT. Okay, so that should have deleted that, and right, so that's fine. Let's do the XE. $326 objects. Let's do a show for the show configuration. There you go. Oh, that's looking miles better. We still have a couple of sub interfaces on there, but that's not too bad. Right, let's just run that again. Alright, so that's fine, and let's get the last one, which was okay, colon blaster 3 colon 0 to 3. Okay, so it says it's not there, that's fine, so let's commit there. Shouldn't take too long to delete a few hundred interfaces. And let's show where we're up to at the moment. Okay, so we have ET008. For some reason it didn't delete that one, or the XE008. Or the 9. That's no biggie. They can be deleted manually. That's not a problem. In fact, you could actually probably amend that that bit of config there, and you can do maybe 8 to 9. And remove them. Okay, commit. Or let's do a show first. Still have the ET that's showing there. And just scroll up, get the ET interface. And we'll remove that as well. Okay. Now we're good to go. Fantastic. So I believe the top one, the bottom one, the routing engine, and let's drag the connector and connect it up as so. XE000 to Gigabit Ethernet 001. So there we go. All done. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed this video of how to set up the QFX on EVE-NG. As you say, it's very similar to the VMX, apart from the fact that you have to delete the silly interfaces that are included with it. Now, the next video we're going to go through is we're going to install these on GNS3. Now, one of the nice things about GNS3 is that you can duplicate a node. So once you've created a node, it doesn't matter which vendor it's from, you can then sit there and power it off, and you can duplicate it, and it will copy the config and its current state. So if you're going to use the QFXs in GNS3, then you'll be able to do this once and then just duplicate them, which is very, very handy. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. I'll see you in the next video.